Hello, welcome to Raymond Castile's Basement of Horror. Today we're going to look at an Argentinian version of a U.S. toy series, the Amigos del Terror. Here's one of them. These are Argentinian knockoffs of the Imperial Universal monsters from the 1980s. So these are genuine Imperial toys, licensed Universal monsters. And this is a knockoff from Argentina. And we're going to do an episode on the licensed, legit Imperial toys, the US toys. We will do an episode just on those very soon. But this episode will focus on the Amigos del Terror. And this is kind of like not a preview, but a prologue. You could call it that, a prologue to the Imperial episode. This is like the cartoon before the feature. So we'll have the feature presentation, and now this is the singing and dancing cartoon before the feature. Well, let's take a look at this. Oh my goodness, I'm looking at the back of this thing. Yikes. Wow. Okay, so here's the Amigos del Terror. And I think one of the reasons this line has a lot of fans is because of this artwork. The card has this beautiful illustration of these monster buddies. And I saw that someone's made a t-shirt with this design on it. You can get a t-shirt it's a red t-shirt, and it has this Amigos del Terror illustration on it, and I think it's got the title as well, Amigos del Terror. Now I said, well, look at the back, not because there was anything wonderful in the back, because of this. Ugh. What the heck is going on back there? Yikes. I don't like the looks of that. I don't know if it's always been that way or what. I don't know if that's... Well, I mean, it looks like... I hope it's not mold. It looks like something, like a liquid, stained it, because it's got these marks, like where the edges of the stain are. I don't know. This has been in a plastic bag, so it's going back in the plastic bag. But that's kind of the par for the course with a knockoff. I mean, this is actually the best of the three cards that I have, except for that back. The bubble is relatively intact. The card is in fairly decent shape, except for that back. So this is actually the best of the three cards. You'll see the other two in a moment. But when it comes to knockoff toys, it's just par for the course that the cards, especially with non-US knockoffs, especially this old, you just have to take it for granted. The packaging, if it's there at all, is going to be a mess. It's amazing if the package is present. So these toys are knockoffs of the Imperials. And let's look at the Imperials for a moment. They were released in 1986. And they made these three, Dracula, Mummy, Frankenstein, but also the Wolfman. The US set by Imperial includes the Wolfman. The Amigos del Terror set does not include the Wolfman. It just has these three, Dracula, Mummy, Frankenstein. And Imperial put these toys out in different package variants. We've got these with tags, and Frankenstein has a tag, but it's behind him, so you can't see it, but he's got his tag. They sold them with tags like this. They also sold them in cards. They sold them in a boxed set. And we'll see all of those during the Imperial episode. Dracula does have a kind of a Bela Lugosi-ish look. They're all kind of, I mean, not kind of, they're very crude. Even the Imperial US versions are very crude. The Mummy is Clarice from Abbott and Costello, the Mummy. The Frankenstein monster in this set, I don't know what to tell you about him. He's pretty bizarre. He seems to have been inspired by the Sakuda vinyl model kit, the jumbo model kit. That's the only explanation for his bizarre appearance, because that kit has weird proportions. And so does this figure. Now, the Imperial Frankenstein is much taller than the Amigos del Terror Frankenstein. It's quite a bit different. I mean, it's like maybe half-inch difference. The Imperial Frankenstein is about a half-inch taller than the Argentinian version. The Mummy and Dracula are also slightly bigger than their Argentina counterparts, but the difference is not as great. It's the Frankenstein is really noticeably bigger than the one from Argentina. Let's look at the Mummy here. This is the Mummy, and he is on he's on a terrible card. I'm worried about even holding him up straight because I think the bubble will just fall right off. So this is the Mummy. There we go. And you can see he doesn't have as much paint on him as the US version. He doesn't have paint on his hands, whereas the US one has tan-colored paint on his fingers, representing his skin, like his face is painted here. And the US one has a lot more yellow on it. This is much more rudimentary, but it's the same sculpt. The features are a little softer. The details are softer on the Argentina versions, but it's the same sculpt. I don't know if they had access to the U.S. molds, or if they made molds from these and repopped them. So this Mummy this bubble is just barely hanging on there. So I'm going to set him down. Oh wait a minute. Just one thing. I'm curious. What does his back look like? Well, I mean, oh gosh, listen to that. You can see there, the back of the Mummy looks fine. So the bubble is decimated, but the card is pretty decent. So one thing that you can't tell just visually is that the Argentinian ones are blow mold. They're very lightweight, hollow, blow molded plastic. Like a milk carton, well, I don't have anything blow molded right here, but oh yes I do. There we go. Like this is blow molded. That's a blow mold piece. We had a whole episode on. We had 2 whole episodes on. We had 3. Count them. 3 whole episodes about Halloween blow molds. The pails, the toys, the lamps, lanterns, what do you call them? lamps, yeah, Halloween lamps, blow molded lamps. So we had several episodes, and here's one of our Avon dinosaur friends. Remember that? That's also blow molded, not the head, but the body's blow molded. So that's an example of blow mold plastic, and that's what the ones from Argentina, that's how they're made. They're blow molded. The US Imperial Toys versions are heavy. This is PVC. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't make the same sound, but this is heavy PVC. And you can see he's got his tag. There's Frankie's tag on his back. And he's got details like the veins in his hand, and you can see his clothing is painted. You can see his sweater underneath, and his buttons are painted. So he's much more detailed in terms of the paint. But also, the details of the sculpt are better preserved on the Imperial ones. They're much softer on the ones from Argentina. Now here's Dracula. Now I haven't mentioned the company. Well, let's look at Dracula and we'll talk about this company, this mysterious company. Dracula has a pretty clean back. Okay, there's Dracula. The Amigos del Terror Dracula. And you can see he's pretty much the same as the Imperial one. Same sculpt. Just the paint's not as detailed. Like, for instance, on the Imperial one, this area is painted white, this vest, and it's black on this one. On the Argentinian one, and on the Imperial one, the bow tie is more carefully painted. So there's good old Dracula. And though it's not licensed, but it does have a okay, for a knockoff, an okay Bela Lugosi look. You can tell they're going for Bela. You can tell that it's supposed to look like Bela, given the way the toy's constructed, the material and everything. It's not bad as far as the likeness. Now he has these giant hands. All the figures in the Imperial set have giant hands, and this one's no exception. The Amigos del Terror, they also have giant hands. Big, clownish hands. Let's take another look at that classic artwork. Beautiful artwork. Now, why do they look so friendly? Because Amigos, I'm just assuming people know what Amigos means. Amigos del Terror, that means terror friends, or, friends of terror. So they're friends. Amigos means friends. So they're friends, they're buddies, they're pals. They've got each other's back. Frankenstein is the big brother of the trio. He's protecting his buddies, his little buddies, Mummy and Dracula. And you can see here the back of Dracula looks fine. So it's only Frankenstein that has that problem with the back. Now, I don't know how difficult it is to get these days. I used to have another set. I sold it. This set was the superior condition of the two. So if you can imagine, if this set is in better shape, then how bad was the other one? I'm looking to see if this... No, he doesn't. The Frankenstein doesn't have the detail on the back of the hand that we saw on the US one. However, they did put that on the illustration. Look at the illustration. It's got those details that you see on the Imperial version, those red veins. They're on the illustration for the Amigos del Terror, but they're not on the toy. The hands don't have those veins. So I'm probably contracting a terrible disease just handling this. I'm probably infecting the whole basement of horror. Anyway, so like I said, this set was actually the better of the two sets that I kept, and I sold the other one. So you can just imagine. I think the other set that I sold, I think the bubbles were like stapled on the cards. I've had these a long time, and I think it's just par for the course with this line particularly, that the conditions are going to be terrible. I think it'd be difficult to assemble a really nice set of the three of these on nice cards with bubbles that don't have any problems. I think it would be difficult. This Dracula card is actually not half bad. I mean, the bubble's kind of crushed. Well, not kind of. I mean, it's got some crushing, but it's not falling apart. I mean, the mummy bubble, that's falling apart. Well, let's look at this company here. First of all, this TV Toys, is that a company name, or is that the line, like the toy line? And then this other company over here, Rainbow and TV Toys. Let's see here. Rainbow, Industria Argentina, and TV Toys. Rainbow. So I did look up Rainbow online, trying to, and as you can imagine, for a company with a generic name like Rainbow, trying to find anything like that was impossible. Rainbow Industria Argentina. So I couldn't find anything that I could link up to this Rainbow. The only hits I got were this particular set, the Amigos del Terror. I couldn't find anything else made by this company. So I think you would have to be an expert on Argentinian toys, or a collector in Argentina, to be able to talk about whether there are other toys made by Rainbow. I mean, I'm guessing there must be, but I don't know what they are. Certainly a Google search doesn't turn up anything, and I never hear anyone talking about that brand. I'm thinking Rainbow has got to be the company, and then TV Toys is a line of toys that they make, and this is part of that line, I'm guessing. I couldn't find any information to give me a broader picture. I think these are probably just, this line is a standalone thing that isn't part of any bigger series or bigger plan that this company had for marketing character toys. But I could be wrong. It would be interesting if there were other figural character toys that this company made that say TV Toys on them. If this Amigos, if they have any brothers or sisters out there that kind of go with this line. I'm not an expert on toys from Argentina or toys from South America or toys from south of the border. I'm not an expert on South American or Mexican toys or European toys, or I'm not an international toy expert. But when you're into knockoffs, particularly, so much of that is international. So much of that is Mexican or South American or European or other, something other than the United States of America. So much of it, if you're going to get into knockoff toys, then you do really need to network, make contacts with collectors in other countries, other continents. It probably helps if you learn to speak other languages. Spanish and Portuguese would be helpful. Italian probably would be helpful. There's a lot of different. I mean, if you're multilingual, that's going to help a lot. So you can actually contact people around the world and really have a conversation with them about what's out there and what do they know. But I can't do that. So I can't put this line in any greater context. As far as when it was made, I know these were made in 1986 originally, when they were introduced. I think they stayed in production quite a while after that, into the 90s, I think. They were certainly available for sale in the early 90s. Whether they were still being produced or whether that was old stock, I don't know. So it's hard to then put these Amigos into a timeline. Obviously, they're post 1986, but are they around that same time, or are they from the 90s? I don't know. But I'd like to find out if anyone out there has more information on these. Everything I can find written about these toys, it just is sort of bemused that they exist. Like, aren't these funny? Look at these cool toys. And talking about the illustration, I can't find anything that talks about the company or puts them into the context of toys from Argentina, or links them back to Imperial, besides being obviously a knockoff of Imperial. But maybe that knockoff status is not quite fair. Maybe there was some kind of connection or arrangement between Imperial and Rainbow. I don't know. Or maybe both companies were getting toys from the same Hong Kong supplier somewhere. Interestingly, this doesn't. I don't know if there might be something on the toy itself, but the card doesn't say "made in" anywhere, as far as I can see. The only country listed is Argentina. So I don't know if these were made in Hong Kong, or maybe they were made in Argentina. That's possible. Particularly since they're blow mold, like a lot of the Mexican blow mold toys. There's a whole genre of blow molded Mexican toys, mostly knockoff stuff. And that stuff is made in Mexico. So it wouldn't surprise me if these blow molded toys are made in Argentina. Where are these made? Let me see. These are in such nice condition. I hate to handle them very much. Let's see where these are made. There it is, big letters, made in Hong Kong, for sure. Made in Hong Kong. Yeah, no doubt about it. So these are absolutely Hong Kong toys. Looking at the universal copyright. As you would expect, the Imperial versions are made in Hong Kong. We don't know about the Amigos del Terra, the Rainbow toys. Probably made in Argentina. And probably, I'm just all speculation, probably molds made. Well, I would think the molds probably were made off of these, because these are smaller. So that would indicate, if you make a mold of something, the result is a smaller toy, and the detail is softer. So that would indicate maybe that they made molds. They took these examples of these figures and made molds of them. But maybe, I don't know. They're crude, but they're not that crude. I mean, they're professionally manufactured toys. They're not like street toys. And a lot of Mexican knockoff blow mold stuff looks like it was made in someone's garage. These don't. These look like they're professionally manufactured in a factory. And the cards are nice. So, and they have original illustrations, which is something even some American companies don't go to the trouble of creating original artwork, original illustrations for their cards. but this knockoff line did, and it's beautiful artwork. And actually, I mean, they went to a lot of trouble. I mean, when you think about it, that illustration, and we might as well look at the illustration a little more, because I really think for a lot of collectors, when they collect this line, they're collecting this illustration. I think that's why carded examples are much more desirable than loose ones. I think for a lot of people, this illustration is really the thing that clicks, that cinches it. Well, let's look at this illustration a little bit. I mean, it's a really adorable image. Just the looks on their faces. I mean, they look like friends, don't they? They look like they're poor little monsters. The whole world is against them. Misunderstood monsters. And they're going to stick together. It's just them against the world. And Frankenstein is saying, "I've got your back. We're all brothers." Frankenstein is the biggest and the strongest, so he's going to protect the other two. And together they're going to get through this. They're going to get through this horrible human world with all these awful humans trying to kill us with their torches and their fire and their garlic and their steaks, and oh my gosh, all these terrible people trying to destroy the Amigos del Terror. What a world, what a world. So, yeah, they're knockoffs, but, I mean, just look at that. They're really nice, actually. I mean, when you see them on this card with that artwork, the figures, the cards, the whole thing, they're actually pretty darn good. They're knockoffs, but they're pretty cool. And I wish I could find an upgraded set. I was starting to talk about the availability. I got sidetracked. I don't know how rare these are these days. I did find some listings in South America. Yeah, I think there was a listing in maybe 2 listings in Brazil. So I think there might have been a Facebook marketplace or something. So I did find a couple of these for sale. I don't know I didn't check to see what the currency exchange rate is, so I can't really tell you what the price was. But I did find a few for sale. So when I got these, which is a long time ago, they were very rare. The ones that I had were some of the only ones I'd ever seen. I'd seen maybe 3 or 4 sets in my life. Now I think they're much better known. For sure, I mean, no one knew what they were back then. But now people talk about them, people post things online. They're known. People know what these toys are now. And I think they pop up more often. How often, I don't know. But this terrible condition of these things, I don't know how easy it would be to find really nice condition examples. I mean, this Dracula's in pretty good condition. But back when I bought these, it was amazing just to have them at all. And that's the case with a lot of the things in my collection. Like stuff I bought in the 1990s, pre-eBay. And I think these were if they weren't pre-eBay, they were early days of eBay. I didn't get these off eBay. I forgot. I think this was a direct deal, face-to-face. I don't think I got these off eBay. I think I got these from a friend of mine. But stuff I bought pre-eBay, 1990s, condition was much less important because it was just amazing to even have them at all. Like to have a Azrak Hanway monster on a card, it was amazing. Just it's actually on a card. That was incredible. Look, and the card is there. It's intact. It's not in tatters and the bubble is still there. Who cares if the bubble was cut or separated or stapled on, whatever? The bubble's there. Just the fact that the packaging was present was some kind of a miracle. And so a lot of things I bought early in my collecting, I wasn't so picky about condition. And I think a lot of collectors had that mindset back then, but it was so hard just to get this stuff at all. And you might see it back then, you might see it once or twice in your life at a show or something, or maybe it would pop up in toy shop once every 5 years. So in toy shop it would be just like a little grainy little black and white photo, if there was a photo at all. So you couldn't be picky about condition because there was no way you had to just take what you could get. It was just about finding it at all, owning it at all, as opposed to not owning it at all. When you're talking about this rare stuff, today, nothing is really that rare. Almost everything, if you're determined, you can find it. Everything turns up on eBay sooner or later. Stuff that used to be impossible to find, now every month you'll find it on eBay. And when you do, there'll be a dozen high-resolution photographs from every angle, so you can scrutinize the condition. And because you can scrutinize the condition, you become pickier about condition. When all you could do is look at a little postage stamp size black and white photo in toy shop, you couldn't scrutinize the condition, so you, by necessity, that wasn't part of your criteria. You didn't care so much about condition. It was more like, does it have a package or not? Is it complete or not? So yes, they're rough. The conditions are rough, but they're from a time in collecting when priorities were different and standards were different. And then on top of that, they're knockoff toys, which even under the best of circumstances tend to be trashed. Knockoff toys, if you're a knockoff collector, you have to kind of accept bent up bubbles or messed up, bent up cards or messed up bubbles. I got that mixed around. Crushed bubbles. Grimy cards, stains and whatnot. That's just kind of part of knockoff collecting. Well, I think that's enough of this. They're a cute set. The cards are especially cute. I'm trying to think, is there anything else we need to talk about with these terror friends? I really like the Mummy because I just like that white look. He's almost like a snowman. He's so white, whereas the Imperial one is more yellow. And every time I touch this Frankenstein, I take 5 years off my life. I don't know what's going on. I think it's just like an oily stain, I hope. I think it's just like an oily something. It's not, I don't think there's anything growing there, but who knows? I don't know. Wow. I'm afraid to get these too close to this. I wanted to show you the height difference, but I kind of want to keep these separated. I want to get these back in their bags. This is unsanitary. I don't know. One more look at each of them, then we'll wrap this up. Here's Amigos del Terror Frankenstein. Amigos del Terror Mummy, if you will stay, not fall off the bubble. He is a friendly mummy. Good old Amigos del Terror Dracula. Lovely little knockoffs from Argentina. And we will have a proper episode on the Imperial monsters with the Wolfman included. We already covered Imperial Godzilla and King Kong. The Imperial Godzilla King Kong toys we covered a year ago in separate episodes. We'll see them again, but we'll focus on Frankenstein, Dracula, Mummy, and Wolfman, who will be present during the Imperial episode. So look for that Imperial Universal Monsters 1980s toy episode very soon. I don't know if it'll be the next episode or if there will be one before it, but it will be very soon. And we're almost at the end of the season. Thank goodness. I need to wrap this up. I gotta tell you, you might have noticed that my uploads are not as regular. They're a little more sporadic. I've got a lot going on. That's one of the reasons I end the season this time of year, just because I just can't do this because of everything going on this time of year. Work related and whatnot, it just becomes very, very difficult to complete an episode and get it online. So really, I should have ended the season already, but I was not able to. I had some weeks where I couldn't shoot anything or couldn't put an episode together, so I'm a little behind schedule. I usually wrap it up by the end of March or early April. And now it's going to be more like the end of April. So there are other things competing for my time. It's making it difficult for me to get these out. So it's important that I wrap this up, and I think we'll probably have 3 more episodes, 2 or 3 more episodes. And then that'll be the end of the 4th season of Basement of Horror. We'll have our summer hiatus, and then we'll come back during the Halloween season with the 5th season of Basement of Horror. In the meantime, if you're watching this video when it's new, then there's still time for you to vote in the Rondo Awards. We are up for our Rondo. We are in the Best Website category. There will be a link in the description. You can vote for Basement of Horror in the Rondo Hatton Classic Horror Awards. Look for the Best Website. I know it's a little weird. This isn't a website, but all the online multimedia kind of stuff where we did podcasts or actual websites or discussion boards or YouTube shows, or all that stuff is all lumped together under a Best Website. So look for that category, and we're listed as Ray Castile's Basement of Horror. That's how we're listed under Best Website. So you have to email the ballot. Go to the Rondo Hatton Classic Horror Awards website, You can vote on everything, you can vote on a few things, or you can just vote on that one category. That's up to you. You don't have to vote on everything. You could just vote for Basement of Horror and send it out, but you've got to email it. It's not automated where you click on it and submit. You have to write an email and put it in the body of the email and send it. So there's a few hoops to jump through, but I think that's by design to keep out the riffraff, so it's not too easy for people to vote. So people who really care and give it some thought are going to be the ones voting. So I guess if I were running things, I would say, yeah, that's all well and good, but I think we need to be able to do it online, just like on the site. Click your choices and submit. I understand why it's not like that, but that's how I would do it. But that's not how it's done. You have to email. So follow the link in the description. Go to the website, look at the categories, vote for whatever interests you, but particularly the best website category. Vote for Ray Castile's Basement of Horror. The name of the show is Raymond Castile's Basement of Horror, but on the ballot it's Ray Castile's Basement of Horror. I don't think that's going to trip people up, but I'm just pointing it out just in case someone looks at the ballot and says, I don't know, this is Ray. Is that the same show? Yes, it's the same show. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I enjoyed bringing it to you. I hope I don't have cancer now because of the whatever is on the back of that Frankenstein card. If you have information about Rainbow, the company Rainbow in Argentina, or any other information about this toy line, because there's nothing out there. There's no information on it. The best references I found do nothing but show pictures of the toys and just say they exist and point out that they're knockoffs of the Imperials, okay, and that they're blow molded instead of the thicker PVC plastic. But there's nothing about the company. There's nothing about other things the company made. There's no other factoids about the toy line. I don't know what you would say about them, but so the information is pretty sparse. It would be nice to be able to place these toys within the larger context of the action figure world in Argentina, and particularly that company Rainbow. What else did they make? I'm sure they weren't formed just to make these. Maybe they were, I don't know, but I doubt it. They probably made other stuff. Do you know what else they made? Let us know. Put it in the comments, or post some links in the comments to other Argentinian toys from this company Rainbow. That's it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again. Until next time, Basement of Horror will return.